Welcome, everyone. We are live on this fantastic Monday morning. It is so good to see you all. You see that title? You know how you say, sounds like a you problem? Well, it sounds like a you solution. Hmm? It sounds like a you solution. How is this? Because the power solely lays within you. It lays within you. So I know sometimes we can think, oh, but I don't know what to do, right? But remember, you do know what to do. Here's a shortcut if you feel a little stuck. You say to yourself, clarity now. And clarity will shine on you. Why? Because the law is not in the business of withholding you and keeping you in the shadows and not knowing anything. That's not what the law does. The law sheds light on every situation. So if you find yourself to be in a pickle, in a predicament, clarity now. That is what I suggest. Test it out for yourself and see how you like it. Reason being, sometimes what's the word? Sometimes we we fret. You understand? Especially when you feel a little stuck. When you fret like that, remember what you are training yourself to do. Because before, when we used to fret, we would stay there. And we'd fret. Shoot, the whole day could go by and you would fret. But if you catch yourself and you practice catching yourself when you fret, you say, whoa, what am I doing again? That's right. I'm going to repolarize myself. I'm going to take myself from fretting. So where do you want to be? You want peace of mind. So if you want peace of mind, remember the law always gives peace of mind. And as soon as you say, ooh, you know what? Peace of mind. I need some clarity on this situation. You get the clarity. The clarity brings peace of mind. And then you remind yourself, all right, this is what I do. I don't fret. Why not? You see, these reminders are critical. When we fret and we complain, we keep ourselves polarized in the old direction, which means we keep getting the same old, same old. We don't want the same old, same old. So, in order to stop getting the same old, you must bring about a new effect. To bring about a new effect, you've got to generate a new cause. A new cause. What is that new cause? Well, your new behaviors and the way you think. You see, it may appear, because somebody asked the question, which comes first, thought or action? Thought will always come first, even though it might look like action came first. In order for you to do the action, you thought about it. And if you've done the action and you haven't quote unquote thought about it, then it's autopilot, which means you are thinking you did and you're not aware of what you're thinking. But remember, the universe is a mental creation. So mentally, you are thinking and creating. So, what do you do to solve your problem? You must first identify it. This would be helpful if you use the law of polarity. What are you doing and where are you now? Somebody asked me the other day, why doesn't it ever change? Because creation follows the same format. That is why it is predictable. It has a rhythm. So that, think about it. If it changed every day, where would that leave you? Where would that leave me if it changed every single day? Hmm? Where would it leave us every single day if it changed, if the process changed every day? Think about the uncertainty. You see, this is why I tell you the law breeds peace of mind, confidence, wisdom, surety of self, because it is reliable and it is predictable. So you see, if you say to yourself, well, my problem is I think I'm a little bit unreliable. Nah, you are always reliable. You are always reliable. You are always reliable. How? Because you keep doing the same thing the same way every time. So, in order to learn and transfer that reliability into another area, you must first identify where you find yourself to be unreliable. And remember, it's not that you're unreliable in a negative way. No, you don't judge it. You just say, you know what? I'd like to become more reliable. In what area? Because that's the problem. You say you're unreliable, but in what area? Well, then, you practice being reliable in that new area because that's who you say you want to be. And the moment you say, this is who I want to be, remember, you've now broadcast that bat signal and you can recreate the image of the bat signal because it's there. You can trace it. So that means you can recreate it. So the next time you are in a situation, well, that sounds like a you solution. It means you're the one who holds the answer. You hold the answer. Think about this. We are always in alignment with law because you can't be not. Wow, Angela, all those years of grammar school, you cannot not be in alignment with law. You are always in alignment with law. It is either you are moving as per the law of vibration, everything moves, nothing stands still. So you are either moving and going along with the behavior you've always done, or you are moving in the new direction to do the new behavior. So you see, you're not stuck. You can't be stuck because the law of vibration is telling you that everything moves. Everything moves. So it is solely dependent upon you. And this is a good thing. Do you know why it's a good thing to be the one who's accountable for your actions? Because it's not a surprise when you choose the action. You're not in a position of, I don't know how this is going to turn out. You're not there. You are always in a position of clarity when you apply the law. I know sometimes it might look a little scary, but that's only because it's fear. But if you address fear with the comprehension, what is the comprehension of fear? That you picked it up, you learned it from somewhere. What does the law say? The law tells you, as within, so without, as above, so below. It tells you, hey, you picked up this gum on your shoe. You want to traipse it everywhere? No, you get to the curb and you scrape that bad boy off. How do you do that in your actual life? Identify the sticky situation. What is it? You're not identifying it so you can complain about it. You are identifying it so you can see the solution. If you don't know you got a problem, if you don't know you got spinach stuck in your teeth, hello. You don't slap the one who tells you. Hmm? You pluck that bad boy out and you say, oh, thanks. Well, the law is the one who tells you what you've got going on. It is. So be bold, because that's just a side effect. Hear it? Side what? Effect. And effect comes about because. A cause. So pay attention to what you say. Oh, that's a side effect. So if it's a side effect, you know what the cause is. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. So remember, you say, yes, doctor, I'll take it. Remember those commercials and all you hear are the side effects, and you're like, whoa, I'll just suffer, thanks. Right? The effect. What is the effect you prefer to experience? That is your solution. So when you see the problem, it is not there for us to complain about. It is there for us to, oh, look, there's the solution. And you apply the solution. Apply the solution. Because if you think about it, when you don't know, what has caused something, right? You don't panic about it. Look at the effect. Look at the effect and you'll figure out the cause. Seriously. You keep choosing the same kind of friendships? That's a you solution. You look at the types of friendships you choose. And you look at yourself and then you say, wait, why would I choose somebody who yells at me all the time, who takes me for granted? Because of the way you see yourself. You see yourself in a poor light. You see yourself in a poor light. So how do you change the way you see yourself? You change the way you see yourself by first acknowledging, oh, I think so poorly of myself. I wonder why. Because chances are you heard it. You heard it from somewhere. You picked it up. But then you ask yourself, what effect would I like? Remember Neville Goddard? What would it be like if I saw myself at a higher standard? What would that be like? Well, how would you treat people? How would you speak to yourself? That right there, you've now solved the problem. Because once you see what it would be like, well, you're seeing a clear image. You're seeing a clear image of being treated with respect, being treated with dignity. You're seeing it. So then, how does that make you feel? Because you have a body, right? And the vibration, because everything moves, will tell you if you're pointing yourself in the direction of better self-image, because it will feel better to your body physiologically. But if the vibration is tense and you're like, ugh, well, then you're still doing the same old behavior. That's your cue. You see, I tell it to you every day because then you're more inclined to practice. And when you practice, you bring about the desired effect. And when you bring about the desired effect, you look in the mirror and say, oh, who's that confident person looking back at me? Yeah, that's a you solution. That's a you solution. You see, don't take it for granted. Look at what you have. Look at what you have. Even though it may feel like the problem is overwhelming, put it in perspective. Always go back to the law. You can pick polarity. Where are you now and what are you doing? Where do you want to be instead? And what would you prefer to be doing? You think you'll be stuck in any situation if you do that? No, because the law sets one free every time. If you like mentalism, you say, whoa, how do I see myself? What is that image of myself? Look in the mirror, which means look at the effects that are going on around you. And you'll see yourself, and you'll see the way you treat yourself. You'll see the way you speak to yourself. And then when you do that, well, look, it sounds like a you solution. You've just solved the problem. If you find that your job is a little challenging, I read somewhere they said their job stressed them out so much they wanted to harm themselves. The job is on the outside. The thing on the outside cannot harm you. The job can't harm you. How you feel about the job is the issue. So if you say, I dread getting up on Mondays to go to work, what would you prefer to be doing instead? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want a different career? Now that's a you solution. What are you good at? You say works well with others or works well with minimum supervision, which means you don't quite like people all that much and you prefer to work alone. That's all right. You just get more done. You're more productive. So you see, it always comes back to who are you? It will always come back to who you are. Do you work well under pressure? Which means, are you quick thinking? If you want to be quick thinking, then you practice being quick thinking. How? You're the one living. So the situation will arise, and as soon as you see it, you say, oh, I can figure this out. Look at that effect. As soon as you look at the effect, you can trace and find the cause. Because you're never stuck. You're always in motion. Let us take a moment to welcome everyone into the space today. Jeff, darling, it is always lovely to see you. It is always lovely to see you. And he's here on Twitter. Fanbase, who's here? Ooh, we have our lovely KZ, my melanin, Flo Smiles, Summer Rose, Miss McQueen, Comrade, Oracle Treehouse, Ashley, Zola, Yolanda. That's what we have on Fanbase today. Who's in the chat on YouTube? Because I know Indy's on Facebook. We have our omnipresent Sugar Visions. We've got lovely Marjorie. Joaquin, is that how I say it? Oh, hello. It is very good to see you, and I'm glad that you're here. The Better Man. Shea Butter. Anod. Those are the ones who've made themselves known in the chat this morning. And for the replay gang, I see you. So remember today. If your issue is that person who always has talk for you, who's always got something to say, chances are you are arguing with them in your mind already. You're the one putting the words in their mouth. Well, how so? When you think of that person that you don't like, I give you these examples because these types of examples seem to be more prevalent than the other way. But because of the pendulum, you know what the other way will be. So if you're the one saying, oh my God, I cannot like stand you, like, ugh, you just, grr. Yeah? See that conversation? Listen, I caught myself doing it the other day because somebody actually did have talk for me the other day. Oh, yeah. And call me right out my name. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And then I had to remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. They're telling me who they are. And I have a choice. Is this what I want for my life? Or is it not? And I said, well, do you, boo boo? Do you? It stung a little. Oh, yes, it did. Because I let it. But here's a funny thing to remember. If what came out of their mouth stung you a little bit, remember it has to burn its way through them first before it gets to you. It has to come out of them first. So if they're spitting venom and vitriol, it's burning them first. You just were splashed. You're not embroiled in it. You just splashed, sprinkle, sprinkle, right? You just got a little sprinkle on you. That's all. They're telling you who they are. But that's a them problem, not a you problem. Do you see what I'm saying? When you know who and what you are, that's a you solution. But when they start spewing what they're spewing, well, that's a them problem. That's a them problem. It has nothing to do with you. So you move on. You don't always have to engage in a broil or a fight. What? No, you do not. Because if you think about it, every cause has its effect and every effect its cause. If the effect is you telling them off, what did you just do with your energy? What did you just do with your energy when you cussed them out? And then you go home and you lay down and you say, why am I so tired today? Yes, that's why you're so tired. Because you're throwing away your energy. You don't throw away your energy. You conserve that bad boy. Because why? You've got things to do with it. How are you going to sit here and cuss out everybody who's got talk for you and then be able to get up and go serve your clientele? How are you going to get up and go bake these cakes that have been ordered when you're tired? Examine the situation wisely. You're not saying out, she's not here this morning in the chat. I'm not going to call her name, but some of her neighbors are a little persnickety and they were making fun of her. And the same way that they were making fun of her, they made fun of her because she lost something. Do you know what happened? Because she called me, she goes, Angela, man, I was so tempted to cuss them out. But you know what? I practiced the law and I polarized myself with peace. I just wanted to be peaceful and I just left it alone. And do you know, this person who made fun of her, well, they lost something too. Oh, indeed. They lost something. And she says, am I a bad person if I laugh? I'm like, no, you're not being a bad person if you laugh, but do unto others. She laughed at you. But you see that there's a difference between a laughter coming from a place of malice or a laughter coming from the place of disbelief that says, I can't believe this just happened. And you chuckle. You see, it's always the intent behind your actions, the intention behind your actions is key. If your intent is to cause harm, remember this. You have to harm yourself first before you can harm somebody else. Well, think about it. The universe is a mental creation. If you're holding a harmful thought in your mind, you are recreating the image and the experience of harm onto yourself. No, I'm not because I say so, but because it is law, the projection. You see, it has to pass through you first. You have to project it from you. So that means it will affect you before it affects the person you don't like. So now use the law of correspondence. As within, so without, as above, so below. If they're going to take the time to be harmful to you, you have to know that they're harming themselves first. And that it has nothing to do with you. Nothing. So if you want the exterior to change, that's a you solution. It is a you solution to change your exterior surroundings. The exterior surroundings are showing you the seeds that you planted. Go in your garden, plant some watermelon. When you see that watermelon begin to, grow, do you not know what you planted? You can see it. So look at your life. Where's the watermelon? What did you plant? Here's the thing. We always can change. Neville Goddard calls it revision. If you try one of those melons and you say, ooh, I don't like that at all. Well, then come next season, you don't have to replant the same seed. Plant a new seed. Revise. Plant a new seed, you get a new harvest. But if you taste that watermelon and you say, ooh, well, oh, there, sweet thing. This is lovely. Well, then you know you found a winner. Plant that one again. It is the same thing if you use the law of correspondence, as above, so below. Your garden is below, but the garden of your mind is above. And so the same principle applies. If you plant a seed and you nurture it with sunlight and water and fertilizer, will it not grow and flourish and bring you a beautiful harvest? So if you plant that seed in your mind, plant the seed in your mind. How do you water it? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to change my life. Here's what I'm changing it to. Here's the seed. Your thoughts about what you are doing is sunlight, it is water, it is fertilizer. When you say things like, oh, this is nice. Because remember, Neville Goddard says, what would it be like? What kind of attitude would you have? The minute you can recreate that attitude, Dr. Joe Dispenza comes along and says, hey, when you start doing a new thing, your body is watching you and it starts to rewire itself for you to have that experience. As within, so without. You made the change within and your body complies. It complies. And then you have an experience. You can't see the changes that are on the inside. You don't see them just yet. You know that they're there because you planted the seed of change. So just like the seed in the ground, you know that you put that seed in the ground round bottom down. The roots have to break out. The pointy end is at the top for the sprout to come out. So when you put that seed in the ground, you can't see how the roots are sprouting, but you know that the roots are sprouting because why? You begin to see the evidence. you begin to see the evidence of the seed that you have planted in the soil. Well, then, the seed that you plant in your mind, you begin to see the evidence of it by way of your behavior. That's how you see it. And when you see the evidence of what you have done and initiated, you begin to say, oh, look, there it is. Oh, this is nice. Of course, unless you're the bamboo farmer. Uh, because remember, bamboo takes 4 years. Bamboo takes 4 years to root itself before it will break the surface. So if you are looking at your life and you say, well, girl, I've planted this seed, there's nothing happening. Really? Bamboo tells you, you might not see it on the surface right away, but be sure that something is taking root and there is a change happening in your life. Oh, there is a change. So don't think, oh no, nothing is happening. You see, when you look at your seed that you have planted, you know you planted it. So that's a you solution, right? When you look at that seed that you've planted and you say, you know what, I planted this. So how are you going to water it in your mind? You water it in your mind by way of your attitude. Your attitude is, well, I have to reap what I've sown. I planted this thought in my mind, so it will come to fruition. And you begin to watch. You look for the sapling, you look for the sprout. You don't look for the sprout to say, is it there yet? No, you look for the sprout because it is the evidence of what you have planted. That's why you're looking for it. And you're looking for it because you're saying, whew, I planted it. I've got to reap it. That's the sun. That's the rain. And that's the fertilizer that you put towards it. Another way to fertilize it is to remind yourself, who is that person? Because we are people. Who is that person that when they see you reaping the benefits, you know you always have somebody who's going to be throwing confetti for you. Who is that person? How would they respond? Exactly. So, however they respond, that is also watering the seed in your mind of your change that you planted. But here's another one. Who's that person that will say, oh, you think you cool? You think you special? You ain't nobody. Who's that person? So you see, even that person with their vitriol is still acknowledging the fact that you planted a particular seed and you are now reaping that said harvest. Even then, when they notice, oh, sure, they're going to cut you down and judge you. But what are they judging? The fact that you were successful. This is why we do not allow the words of other people to deter us. You are the one who planted the seed. Remember, some people will be like birds, caw, and they will come along and try and pluck up the seed that you planted. Oh, they'll come along and try and do it for sure. But remember, you now have to be the scarecrow in your own field. And just the very fact that you are protecting your seed that you've planted in your mind by simply remembering what you've done and that you have to reap it, nobody can come along and take it from you. That bird can't come along and pluck the seeds that you've planted. They can't do it because you are standing watch to say, I did this, I planted, I will reap. I'm a good farmer. And you walk out there and you sprinkle, and you plant and you water and you nurture yourself. And the reason why you nurture yourself, the reason you nurture yourself, you are the soil. If you don't nurture your soil, which is you, you're going to be pretty sure what happens to seeds that you plant. You can bet your bottom dollar what's going to happen to any seed that you plant. If your ground is hard and dry and cracked, meaning the way you see yourself. If you see yourself as, I can't. What kind of soil is that? Get out there and start breaking it up. How do you break it up? Get in the mirror. What do you say to yourself? Listen, according to this crazy woman I heard on Fanbase or YouTube or Twitter, she said that if I tell myself that I can do things and I'm planting a seed, then I have to reap that. Let me see if this is true. Let me test it out. Let me see. What am I going to say to myself today? What seed am I going to put into my mind? Well, I'm good at this thing. All right, I'm good at this thing. I know I'm good at this thing because I've been doing it for a long time. I'm good at this. Next thing you know, because you're so busy telling yourself what you're good at, somebody comes along and says, hey, I heard about you. I'm in need of the service you offer because I heard you were real good at it. And the first thing that comes out of your mouth, not to them, you clutch your pearls and you say, oh, what a coincidence. Well, I was just thinking about this thing. That's what we do. But remember the pendulum. If you walk around and you tell yourself how not good or how you can't accomplish anything or how it's impossible, you don't have any money, you don't have any connections, you walk around telling yourself that. And then something happens and a door closes and you go, you see, nothing ever works out for me. How can it? Look at the seed that you have planted. That's a you solution. You have what it takes within you to change the trajectory of your life. Listen, today, even if you say, well, I am a Christian, I am an Israelite, I don't care what it is you say you are. The moment that you acknowledge that you are, you have pointed yourself in the direction of change. If you say, my God supplies all my needs, if you say that, you have turned yourself from your problem towards your solution. And when you turn yourself towards the solution, what must you reap? Opportunities that confirm the seed that you've planted. You see, we think that gardening is just meh, it's just something you do, but that's not the case. Gardening is law. You must reap what you have sown. So when you want to change your life, go out into the garden and ask yourself, what do I want to eat? Well, then plant according to what you want to eat, which means, what do you want to experience? You know how good it feels to bite into that juicy watermelon. Running all down your chin. You're like, "Ooh, this is the sweetest thing I have tasted in a long time." That's the effect that you want. You want enjoyment from your harvest. So if you are an entrepreneur and you say, more clientele. What kind of clientele? What kind of clientele? So what kind of seed, what kind of harvest then? You want a clientele, A, who pays on time depending on your service. You want a clientele who is going to say and share with you personally. If there's a flaw, they'll say, hey, I noticed this. They'll tell you. But if you've done something phenomenal, they get out their foghorn and they say, come on, come on, let me tell you about this person. That's the kind of clientele you want. So then, if you can see the kind of clientele you want, you've just planted the seed. Have you not? So now you begin to write those things down, the type of clientele you want. That's the seed you are planting. That's a you solution. We cannot keep saying, I don't know. The reason why small children tell you, I don't know, is because they have not yet lived. They're just getting started. They have nothing to draw from. You, on the other hand, when you say, I don't know, examine it. Do you not know because you're scared? You don't want to fail? Listen, look at the law. The law tells you, as above, so below. So go back to your garden. If you plant those seeds and you nurture them, your harvest is guaranteed. So, where are you meant to fail? Nowhere. The law does not deal in failure. The law deals in success. Why? Because we are successfully into fall right now. The season of fall, we are successfully there. Unless you're living in Alberta, then you can get snow in 2 weeks. I digress. So, you see, whatever it is today that you are dealing with, the hack or the shortcut to remember the law is to become a gardener mentally. Become a gardener mentally. You know, you go to the garden store and you buy the seeds or the saplings based upon what you want to experience. So if you want to experience peace of mind, stop arguing in your head. If you want to experience peace of mind, stop arguing in your head. I guarantee you, you're having an argument there within yourself, especially with the person you think about that you don't quite care for very much. But how do you think about the person you do care about? How do you think about them? You see that kind of conversation you have about them because you like them and you're thinking about them. You're like, oh, like my pet chicken. She's so cute. Every time she's scratching around, I say like, oh. It doesn't matter where I go. I think, oh, let's get a little ribbon for her hair because I'm thinking about how much I like her. And it makes you, here's the thing, when you think about things that you enjoy, your body has a chemical response. Oh, you want to doubt me? Think about the thing you dislike and tell me how the body responds. So, if the body responds in an unsavory fashion, if you think about the thing you do not like, well, then the body responds beautifully when you think about a thing you enjoy. What's the difference? Simply the thing you are thinking about. That is the power of a thought. You ever had somebody just cross your mind and then the phone rings and, oh my God, girl, I was just thinking about you. Somebody told me that the other day. They were walking somewhere and they were saying to themselves, you know what? This is my way or no way. And somebody walked by them with a shirt. And what did the shirt say? My way or no way. And she said to me, Angela, I thought I was going crazy. I said, girl, that's the law of correspondence. Relax. Think about that. You see the power you have to create solutions? The same power you have to create a solution is the same power you have to create a problem. It is not whether you're creating problems or solutions. Do you recognize the power in the first place? Because if you can create problems, you can create solutions. Because you're doing the exact same thing in both cases. You've given your attention to something. Whether that thing is good, bad, or indifferent, so long as it has your attention, and you'll know because it'll make your body feel a particular way. You are in a body, so it has to correspond with the thought. This is how you know what you're thinking. So today, When you encounter a situation, rip out the law of polarity. What does it ask you? The law of polarity says, be honest with me now. Where are you now and what are you doing? Write it down or record it, depending on your personality. But it is asking you to acknowledge it honestly. Why? Because when you acknowledge it honestly, now when you say, I would prefer to be here and to be doing this, now you can choose the appropriate seed to plant. But if you lie to yourself, you have to plant the seed of that lie. Thereby you will reap the lie. It's not asking you to be honest so it can go, loser. It's not asking you to be honest so it can do that. It's asking you to be honest with you so that you can plant the new seeds and bring about the new harvest that you say you want to experience in your life. I used this example last time and I'm going to use it again. If you want to be booed up, somebody told me that was funny the other day. If you want to be booed up, you understand. You can't be out here in these streets talking crazy things like, there's no good men around. There's no good women around. Let me tell you why. Go back to the garden. Plant according to what you want to reap. So the solution is not that there aren't any good men or women. The solution is, who are you? Do you know what you like? Do you know what you don't like? Do you know those things? Do you know if you have integrity or not? Why? Because when you look in a mirror, the only reflection there is your own. So when you say, there's no good men, there's no good women, exactly what lens are you looking through? You only ever recreate the self. How do I know this? The seed that you plant can only bear the fruit of what is contained within the seed. So stop judging yourself. But when you say things like, oh, I'm the greatest, I'm this, I'm that, when you say things like that, right? You've got to be able to see that in yourself. See your reliability. See your integrity. Because when you see those things about yourself, see your compassion, see the fact that you listen to converse, listen to comprehend. See those things about yourself. See those good qualities about yourself. Because when you see those good things about yourself, you begin to project them outward. And the thing you project outward is the seed that you plant. So what harvest will you bear? Someone who is just like you. So if you find that you argue all the time, you don't listen to anybody, you got to prove your point, well, then you will encounter a most argumentative person. Not because I say so, because I'm trying to be cruel, but I'm saying it to you because if you spend the time to prune and cultivate the self, be your best self. If you spend the time to do that, well, then you will recognize if you see the best in you, that means you'll see the best in others. If you speak to yourself in such a way, like if you make a mistake and you say, oh, you know what? I didn't quite like that. Let me do this instead. Because this new action will bring about the new effect I'm looking for. And you are gentle with yourself. You think when somebody makes an error, you're saying, yeah, Darren, no. Why you? No, you will come correct. You will come with the compassion to say, oh, I saw. It's okay. We can work through this. And you know why? If you find that you have the integrity, they will also have integrity to bring themselves through any situation. You say that you are strong in your mind and that you are kind and compassionate and you're strong and confident, well, then so will they. They will have that. If you go into the world of, ah, you got to do what I tell you to. Wait, what? Is that how you talk to yourself? So remember, you want to be booed up. You are the carbon copy for your boo. You are. How will you know you both like long walks on the beach if you don't like it? If you like it, they're going to like it because they are you. They're you. This is law. You reap what you have sown. So that's why it's a you solution. It's a you solution at every turn. When you look at the problem, you don't complain about how much you've been doing this for so long and nothing is changing. That's not what a problem has presented itself to tell you. The problem has presented itself to tell you, is this the harvest you want to bring in? That's a simple question. Yes or no. That's how you answer the question. So if you say yes, well, keep planting those seeds. And if you say no, well, then what harvest? See how that's a you solution? It's a you solution. There's not everybody who's going to like you or get along with you. That's not your business. They don't like you the same reason you don't like certain foods. It just doesn't sit well with you. So you don't eat them, which means they don't like you. Well, then you don't participate with them. You don't walk around with a chip saying, you don't like me, you think you like. No, because you know why? Those are the seeds that you are planting. And thus, that will be the harvest that you have to reap. So you see, it is always going to be a you solution. Always. You are the master. You are the master of your life. So you've got to become bold now. The same attitude you have when you plant in your garden and you are excited and you're plucking out those weeds because you know they don't serve a purpose in your garden, right? When you do that, you say, I'm pruning and I'm just getting it ready. Well, that's what changing and relinquishing old habits is. All you're doing is fortifying your garden and getting rid of things that don't belong there anymore. How do you find the habit that doesn't belong anymore? It's the thing that will make you say, why am I always doing this? Why does this always happen to me? Because you're doing the same thing the same way every time. So when that habit that is distasteful presents itself, that is polarity. Where do you want to be and what do you want to be doing? So then, what is that new behavior? Do the new behavior the same way every time, and you will have created a new habit. So you see, you are the solution. You are the solution. You are the solution. You do not allow somebody to come along and fill your head with nonsense about you. How do they know? They don't know you. You know you, though. All they are doing is telling you the lens that they look through. That's what they're doing. So whether it be your mother, whether it be your father, whether it be your sister, your preacher, your teacher, it doesn't matter. If they are coming at you with vitriol, they're only telling you about themselves. You don't always have to put somebody in their place, you know. You don't always have to fight with people. Recognize where they're coming from. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That's where they're coming from. Where are you coming from? Are you coming from a place of insecurity? Because if you come from a place of insecurity, your very decisions that you make will come from there. You know, what do they say? Act accordingly. Accordingly to what? How you see yourself. That's how you behave. Day in and day out. You understand? You are the solution. If you know that you are the solution, you know what that causes? It causes you to see yourself with compassion. It causes you to look at a habit that you find so reprehensible and you say, you know what? It's time for a change. I've been doing this too long. Oh, what is a habit? A thing you do the same way every time. We call them generational curses. They're not curses. Listen, if you have a curse, you're going to need an Obia man, or you're going to need a voodoo man, or you're going to need a shadow man. But you are the solution. So it's not a curse. It is just something that has been done in the same way every time and taught from grandmother to mother to auntie to sister to uncle to brother. It's just the same thing that's been, you all bake it and cook it the same way. So if you want to taste a new dish, you have to get new ingredients, a new recipe. So you've got to develop a new habit, a new behavior that you do the same way every time. And here's the beauty of the law. Yes, the law tells you the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So mentally, how are you speaking to yourself? That's how somebody else is going to speak to you. Why? Because we think thoughts are invisible. How does your phone ring when you think of that person? You think that was a coincidence? There are no coincidences. You thought of them. They were thinking of you. So you had to connect. You are the solution. So today, if there's something in your life that you want to change, whether it is a career, whether it is more money in the bank, cha-ching, it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is, do you know what you want? When you know what it is that you want, go back to your garden. You plant according to what you want to sink your teeth into. That's why you plant. So, what kind of change do you want in your life? That is the behavior you begin to do. That's the behavior you begin to do. So don't be afraid of the behavior that you have to change. Know that if you go outside and you plant corn, you have to reap it. That is the law of correspondence. You must reap what you have sown. So now your mind is the fertile soil. What kind of attitude seeds are you planting in your mind? When you decide what that attitude seed is, well, do you not know what the harvest will be? Of course you do. So what have you to fear? Nothing. You have this. Because you are the solution. You have it in the palm of your hand. Yeah, but you don't know my life. You don't know how hard it's been. Listen. Do not keep stumbling blocks in your way. Every single one of us on this planet, you don't compare your problem to somebody else's and go, oh, mine was worse. Stop that. Do you want to move past it? Or you want to stay there? Well, if you want to move past it, what do you want for your life now? Begin to see the change that you want for your life now. It doesn't matter what somebody's opinion is, whether they think you can change or not, that's their problem. You are the solution for your life. So as long as you are clear, how do you know that you're clear? If you say, I want to eat watermelon, well, clearly you know you're going to, what kind of flesh, red or yellow? Well, then you buy the appropriate seed. So for you, if you say, I am tired of being sick and tired, what do you want to be? What do you want to experience in your life? That is how you make the decision. I want more peace of mind. I want that when I go out into the world, I meet kind people. I want that when I go out into the world, people come and they use my services because they love what I do. Because I want to be phenomenal. You notice how you don't want to be phenomenal by way of George. You want to be phenomenal because you want to be phenomenal, because it is how you perceive yourself. See, it's a you solution. But if you look at George and compare yourself to George and say, well, George is like totally super successful, I've got to compete with him, you will find that you create stumbling blocks in your own way. You are you. And you must be sure of what it is you want to experience in the world. You have to know your own mind. So there's no more of this, I don't know what I want. You must know what you want. When you know what you want, that is what makes it possible to recreate. If you don't know what you want, how are you going to know? Go back to the realtor. You can't just call up the realtor and say, I'm looking for a house. Tell him something he doesn't know. Well, that's why you're calling him in the first place. So what kind? Bungalow? Condo? Townhouse? Walkout basement? What? Duplex? Know what it is that you want. Because when you know what you want, it is possible to recreate it. When you know what you want, it is possible to recreate it. Because now you've polarized yourself in the direction of what you say you are. You want more confidence? Well, then you have to be like Patti LaBelle. I got a new attitude. What does that new attitude look like? It means you walk with a straight back, a firm step. You got a little bit of swagger to you. Why? You can see confidence. You see, mirror neurons are beautiful. I keep telling you about them till you start using them consciously. Mirror neurons, they watch you. Listen to the name, a mirror. What do you do in a mirror? You watch yourself do something. So if perhaps you find yourself in a position where you say, I'm a little bit sad, I don't know how to pull myself out of this, observe joy. Observe joy. I will always remember the little Yorkshire Terrier that I saw with a little Argyle sweater. Let me tell you something. Every time I think of that little puppy, I have to giggle because it was the cutest thing I've ever seen. When you observe joy, your body releases the endorphins that match, and all you're doing is watching. But here's the thing. You have the power to override it, How? If you look at that thing that is supposed to be joyous and you look at it and you say, ugh, I can't stand happy people, you have just overridden the change that was there to help you. You see, I know sometimes we may think that we're never going to be successful or this is never going to change. No, the law tells you you reap what you have sown. So if you plant the attitude that says, if I know what I want, I can recreate it. Well, how do you recreate it? You're clear about what you want to do. If you're clear about your clientele, they come. But if you don't know what kind of client you want, man, sometimes you'll have to sift through unsavory things just because you want clients. No, you don't just want clients. You want an ideal client. Why do you think marketing costs so much? Because it has the power to influence the mind to do something. That's why you are the solution. You're the one to influence your mind to change the trajectory of your life. It is not enough to sit and rock in the corner. You are way more valuable than that. But I heard I wasn't. Again, If somebody wants to come along and tell you that you're not valuable, remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That's a them problem. That's their opinion. The opinion that matters most is the one going on between your ears. The opinion that matters is the one between your ears. The way you speak to yourself. If the problem is the way you speak to yourself, the solution is the way you speak to yourself. An eye for an eye. It is the law of correspondence. You cannot sit there and berate and browbeat yourself and tell yourself how not good you are and expect that you are going to reap roses. No, you are planting stinky missies, you will smell stinky missies. You don't know where to begin? One simple thing. What do you want? What do you want for this morning? Sometimes it can be overwhelming to look down the road and say, what do I want for the year? No, we eat one spoonful at a time. Still, you can put the bowl to your head. You still sipping one sip at a time. One mouthful at a time. So you start with the thing that presents itself the most. The thing that presents itself to you the most is the thing that you give your attention to. Because it is a stumbling block, right? It was hidden before. And then it made you say, why do I keep doing that? So when you catch it, get out the law of polarity. Where are you now and what are you doing? You write it down. Why? Because now you will gain some clarity to say, oh, I'm doing this. No, I would prefer to do this thing instead. And you write it down. And then you get up every day and you do the new thing, regardless of what that little thought that comes into the back of your mind that says, you know, you've tried to change so many times. What makes you think this one is different? Sometimes that happens. What are you going to do about it? You remind yourself that you are the solution. And you know how else you remind yourself? If you practice something over and over and over again, what happens to you? You become good at it. That is guaranteed. So you remind yourself, well, the more I keep practicing this behavior, the better I get. And that's how you talk to yourself, because you are the solution. You are the solution. Let me get the bowl. Well, let me get the recording of the bowl, my beautiful friends. Oh, it's bright. I'm looking now. Who's in the room? Well, hello, James. CM what? Memoirs of a Shy Girl. Hey, King Thoy. Hello. Hello, Joe. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Bernetta, darling. Mr. Cutsum. Hello. Ashley, darling. Only praise or hype 'em? I see you. KZ. Comrade, Miss McQueen, my melanin, Oracle Treehouse, Summer Rose, I see you, Sugar Visions, Yolanda Zola, I see you. Hey, JC, Patience, Marjorie, darling, David, Joaquin, I see you, the better man, Shea Butter, A Not, Jeff, darling, and V22. Thank you all for being here this morning and spending your time with me. And I trust you found it beneficial. And as you go through the day today, remember, you are the solution. Let me get the bowl.